Big news coming in from the Supreme Court of the country. Now, Victoria Gowri, like we've been taking and telling you, has taken oath as the additional judge of the Madras High Court, and the Supreme Court has now dismissed the plea against her. That is a big breaking news update that we are bringing to you. The Supreme Court has dismissed the petitions that were challenging Victoria Gowri's appointment. Taking this across to my colleague Ananya. Ananya, very dramatic developments that have come out of the Supreme Court of the country. Even as Victoria Gowri was taking oath, the Supreme Court was actually hearing the pleas challenging her appointment, and now all those have been quashed.
Well, definitely, Griha, this is something that is happening since the very morning, and we have seen a high-level drama breaking out at the Supreme Court. If you remember that the pleas were mentioned yesterday before a bench headed by the Chief Justice of India, Justice Dhananjay Yashwant Chandrachud, and then the matter was fixed for hearing tomorrow, that is today. And then what had happened was that an urgent mentioning was made before Registrar Judicial in the morning that the matter be heard before the oath ceremony actually begins. However, first a bench of Chief Justice of India had to take it up, then the matter went before, in fact, a bench headed by Justice Justice Sanjeev Khanna and Justice B.R. Gowri. And what has happened very, very clearly at this point of time is that the Supreme Court has now dismissed all of those petitions that were challenging Ms. Gowri's appointment here. And what has also happened at the subsequent time is that various arguments were addressed by senior advocate Anand Grover, in fact, by other advocates who were also appearing, Mr. Raju Ramachandran, who was appearing for the petitioners. And it's been clearly stated by the Supreme Court that there cannot be, in fact, the collegium recommendations cannot be interfered with, and the president's warrants are already there, and she has now taken oath, so nothing can be done at this point of time, is what the court has said. However, the court said that she is just being appointed as an additional judge, and if at all something is found out, the collegium would take a look of it afterwards, and the additional judge won't be made permanent if at all something is wrong with her. And Griha, I would like to take you through, the advocates are here, so I will try to get a reaction from them.
Sir, the court has dismissed these petitions challenging the appointment.
सुनवाई की कोर्ट ने ये कहा कि हम इस याचिका पर कोई आदेश जारी नहीं करेंगे। उनके शपथ लेने को चुनौती दी गई थी, उनकी आइडियोलॉजी को भी चुनौती दी गई थी, और ये कहा गया था कि इस पर दोबारा विचार किया जाए। बार काउंसिल की तरफ से ये भी कहा गया कि इस पूरे मामले में कोई शिकायत अभी तक दर्ज नहीं कराई गई। इस पूरे फैसले को कैसे देखते हैं और क्या ये एक बड़ी साजिश है न्यायपालिका को लेकर?
So what is the impact of something like this on the judiciary and in the bar?
See, whatever the court has done, the order passed by the court is perfectly all right. Actually, this should have been the decision of the court. Otherwise, it would have created a very wrong precedent. जो भी कोर्ट ने किया है बहुत अच्छा किया है, और मुझे लगता है कि इससे बढ़िया डिसीजन नहीं हो सकता था। अदरवाइज एक बहुत ही गलत प्रेसिडेंट काम हो जाता। कोर्ट ने ये कहा है कि देयर आर टू फैक्टर्स टू बी कंसीडर्ड बाय द कॉलेजियम। वन इज एलिजिबिलिटी, अनदर इज सुटेबिलिटी। Both the factors, the collegium of the High Court, the collegium of the Supreme Court, they consider very well. दोनों फैक्टर्स को एलिजिबिलिटी, आप उस संविधान के तहत आप एलिजिबल हैं नहीं है, सुटेबल हैं कि नहीं कि आप जज के पद को आप बरकरार रखें, तो ऐसी स्थिति में कॉलेजियम, द गवर्नमेंट, द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट, द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट, द IB, so many agencies, so many authorities, they consider the suitability and the eligibility. And when they find it that any lawyer or any person of subordinate judiciary is perfect to be a judge of the High Court or Supreme Court, then these cannot be now examined by the judicial side. Then therefore, whatever the court, and we also submitted that there is absolutely no complaint against her with regard to any misconduct, other misconduct or professional misconduct throughout her career. Therefore, the court should not interfere, and the court did.
So when we see this kind of cases coming up, particularly since the questions were being asked about this speeches she had made or articles she had written, how do you see this entire development?
See, you know, if my name is recommended by a collegium, any collegium, then the complaints, so many letters, they reach to the collegiums and the government. And the many facts which even I don't know about me, those are disclosed. Therefore, it is beyond presumption that these materials, these hate speech or whatever materials they were alleging today, they were not before the collegium.
So the bench has also said that
these are the matters of the year 2018. Now you know, the court also gave the example of so many judges.
So the bench has also said
Justice
that there is no problem in judges having a political affiliation before they becoming
naturally, it is the past has shown it. Justice Krishna Iyer was one of the best judge of the world. Therefore, and so many others, even sitting judges are there who had political connections.
जस्टिस गवई ने अपने बारे में भी कहा कि मैं खुद भी पॉलिटिकल
उन्होंने कहा कि जज बनने के पहले मैं भी किसी पॉलिटिकल पार्टी का मेंबर था, लेकिन 20 बरस में जब से मैं जज हूं आज तक तो ऐसा कुछ नहीं लगा। और सारा बार जानता है, सारी दुनिया जानती है कि
So that was what was happening in the national capital outside the Supreme Court. We have seen how the Supreme Court has quashed the pleas against the advocate Victoria Gowri, who has now been actually accented as the additional judge of the Madras High Court. Things are unruly outside the Madras High Court, however, as there are lawyers who are protesting outside the High Court. We have my colleague Purnima joining us to see and take stock of the situation on ground as to what exactly is happening after the Supreme Court judgment has come about. Purnima, over to you. What really are the lawyers now saying after this verdict has been given?
Well, at least 10 to 15 lawyers had staged protests outside the Madras High Court before the swearing in of Justice Victoria Gowri, before the hearing of the Supreme Court. At least 10 to 15 lawyers, but the crowds dispersed because Justice Victoria Gowri was sworn in a short while ago. At around 10:35, lawyers in their slogans had that they raised against Justice Victoria was about the hate speech and that there were certain speeches and her affiliation with a particular party. All these should be considered and that she should not be sworn in is what the lawyers had demanded, and the slogans were against that. But now she's been finally sworn in, and the Supreme Court verdict is also in favor of Justice Victoria. She will be hearing the first case at noon today.
Okay. So, Purnima, essentially you were saying that this was like a handful of lawyers who were protesting some time back. The crowd has now dispersed now that the swearing in has taken place. So things will go about as planned and there'll be usual business in the Madras High Court. Is that right?
Absolutely. Now that Justice Victoria Gowri has been sworn in, she will be hearing the cases starting noon today. But before that, when we saw how drama unfolded in the national capital, here also around 10 to 15 lawyers had assembled outside the Madras High Court at around 10 a.m. and they raised slogans against the additional judge, and also spoke about the hate speeches from her past and her affiliation with the National Party, and said that there are many others who are more eligible and that she should not be sworn in. That was a slogan that was raised by a handful of lawyers outside the Madras High Court. But at around 10:32 a.m., Justice Victoria Gowri was sworn in at the Madras High Court. She will be hearing cases starting today, and outside the Madras High Court, the protests have ended and it's business as usual here outside the Madras High Court.
All right. Thank you.